Okay, pumpkins. This one's called apples. It is new and updated. I don't know what that means because I don't know if I read the old version or the new version before, but this one's by Gail Gibbons. And so you see these beautiful apples down here. All the different colors that we talked about this morning. Here we go. An apple is a fruit. It grows on an apple tree. Apple trees grow in more parts of the world than any other fruit tree. They have been in existence for about 2 million years. So apple trees are so old, like dinosaur time old. The first American colonists brought apple seeds and seedlings with them from England. So that's how they got to America. Many times during the early 1800s, John Chapman traveled throughout the wilderness of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana, planting apple seeds. Also, he gave seeds and seedlings to the settlers there. He became known as Johnny Appleseed. So if you've ever heard the tale of Johnny Appleseed, that's what he did. He took seeds and he went all across those states and he planted apple trees so there would be many, many orchards in that area. Nowadays, some apples are grown at home and some are grown commercially. Each year, about 250 bushels of apples are grown in the United States and about 28 million bushels are grown in Canada. So a bushel is actually those large baskets that they give you if you've ever. So we're going to take a virtual field trip to an apple orchard on Friday, and that is going to be very helpful to you because then you'll be able to see like the baskets and things. An apple is a firm, crisp, fleshy fruit with a hard center called a core. So when we cut open our apple this week, you'll see that the core is the hard part that's right in the middle. That's the part that you don't want to eat with the seeds in it. The core has 5 seed chambers. So that's those little, so if you cut it one way, you'll get this little star, which is, we're actually going to use that to paint if you can on Friday. In the springtime, flowers called apple blossoms begin to bloom on the apple trees. I'm trying to get that glare, guys. Each blossom has to be pollinated in order for an apple to grow. The blossoms are usually pollinated by insects or by the wind. The leaves capture sunlight, which helps the tree to grow. After a while, the blossoms begin to die and apples start to grow. Throughout the warm summer, the little apples grow bigger and bigger. These are golden delicious. See how they're nice golden yellow color? During the late summer or early fall, the apples ripen. And that's why we're doing those right now, because if you go anywhere now, you'll find apples everywhere in this area, because Johnny Appleseed didn't come to New Jersey, but he had there's lots of apple orchards around here. When the trees are loaded with ripe apples, it is harvest time. Workers pick the apples by hand. So see, there they are, all climbing those ladders and picking those apples. And we're going to read a story later in the week about apple picking as a job. Some are shipped to the stores, and some are used to make apple juice, apple cider, apple jelly, apple sauce, and lots of other apple products. Some are sold in baskets at roadside stands. So we're really lucky in our area that we have lots of roadside stands around, right? So you could get apples at any of the roadside stands, the farm stands. During the fall, it is fun to go apple picking. So I think one of you said that you were going to go apple picking this week. Also, there are country fairs. Awards are given to the best looking apples, the best tasting apple pies, and the most delicious apple sauce. There's apple cider too. And apple cider donuts. I love those. During Halloween, there are caramel apples and candy apples. We talked about that yesterday too, if anybody had ever made candy apples. Some people bob for apples. So one of you said that you wanted to go swimming yesterday, and I said something about bobbing for apples. Well, that's what this is. So I will actually on Friday, for Fun Friday, I will show you how to bob for apples. I'm not phenomenal at it, but we'll see. Maybe some of you have some really good teeth. Well, we have been doing Baby Shark, so you never know, right? Dormant means alive, but not actively growing. So in the winter time, it looks like the apple trees are dead. Like you would look at them and you would go, oh my goodness, they're not even alive because the flowers are all gone and the leaves are all gone, but they're just dormant. That means they're just waiting. When winter arrives, the apple tree branches become bare and the trees will become dormant until the next spring. That's another, dormant is another really good word. So we talked about seeds and we talked about seedlings, and we talked about, what was the other ones? About pollinating. We talked about pollen yesterday. Well, this word dormant means to be alive but not growing at the minute. When the trees will produce a new crop of apples. So in the spring, they wake up and they produce more apples. Okay. Some common apples grown in North America. So that's where we are, obviously. Apples have many tastes ranging from sweet to tart. All apples are different shades of yellow, green, and red, or a mix of those colors. So one of the rhymes that we read actually said something about pink, but really what they mean is it's a mix of like a yellow and a red together. It makes the red look very light, so it looks pink. But they're all apples are yellow, green, or red, and then sometimes they're kind of mixed up. So this one is a Rome Beauty. We don't see a lot of those. We see a lot of McIntosh apples around here, and a lot of Red Delicious and Golden Delicious. And this one's a Jonathan apple. I don't know if I've seen those lately. This is a York apple. That's the one that kind of looks pink sometimes. This is a Stamen apple. And this is a Granny Smith. So this one sometimes people use for apple pies because it is very tart. So in a pie, it makes it nice and sweet. Okay. How to plant and care for an apple tree. Now, obviously, I'm not sending you apple seeds this time, and it would take a very long time to grow an apple tree, but this is the way it would be done. So it is best to plant a seedling in the fall. So this is the fall, so if you have a seedling somewhere, this would be the time. Dig a hole that is big enough to give the seedlings roots room to grow. Now remember, roots are those things that grow under the ground, the part that grows under the ground. That was the other vocabulary word I was trying to think of earlier. After placing the seedling into the hole, add topsoil. So remember, soil is another thing that we need. An apple tree will not grow apples until it is about 5 to 8 years old. Each spring, the tree branches are trimmed. This is called pruning. So pruning is another really good word. And that means that you're trimming up the apple trees. Most apple trees grow to be about 20 feet tall. The soil around the trees should be fertilized. The pruning and fertilizing help produce lots of good apples. So here is them pruning and fertilizing. Fertilizing means you're giving them food. An apple a day. They are good for you. So the saying is, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, meaning that you'll stay nice and healthy. Make your own apple pie with the help of an adult. So here's how you do that. You place the dough for the bottom crust into the pie pan and trim off the edge. You peel and slice 6 to 8. Granny Smith's and Jonathan's are good for use for apple pies because they are tart and they stay firm when they are baked. Remove the cores and put the apples into the pie pan. Mix 1/2 cup brown sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and sprinkle the mixture all over the apples. So you want to cover that with the apple so it's going to make that nice juice, right? When the juice comes out of the apples and it mixes with that cinnamon and sugar, yummy! Put a layer of dough on top and then pinch down the edges and remove any extra dough and poke little holes in the top. So the apples do have to breathe in there. Bake for 50 minutes at 425 degrees. And I don't do any of that because my mom is still alive and still knows how to make great apple pie. The apples are dropped into the hopper where they are cut up. See? That's how they do it. So this is how they make apple cider press works. So this is an apple cider press. So first they drop the apples in there and the apple pieces drop into this tub, that part, until it is 3/4 of the way full. And then the press handle is turned and the apple pieces are squeezed, forcing cider through a cloth filter. So here's the cloth filter. And apple cider flows into the tray and then runs into the container. Very interesting, right? Oh, there's all the different kinds of apples again. There are thousands of varieties or kinds of apples. So here's the kind that are like all over the world, but we showed you earlier the ones that are most common to us in our area. They are nutritious and delicious, both wonderful vocabulary words. Nutritious means it has lots of nutrients, so they're very good for you. Delicious means it just tastes good. And so when you pop on, I would like you to tell me your favorite way to eat apples, whether it's candy apples or apple pie or apple tarts or apple slices. You pop on and you tell me. Okay, my friends, I will see you in a little bit. I want to know those apple recipes that you think are delicious.